Great to meet you, Andrew. Tell me what you do here in Leeds.
Well, here in Leeds, we manufacture these, the finest high-speed doors in the world. Now, what's a high-speed door? You're going to find it in a food distribution centre or factory or pharmacology, anywhere where you're trying to separate two different environments.
Actually, it's something we take for granted, isn't it?
We do.
We think the door's a simple thing, just a door.
Indeed. I didn't know these existed before I joined Union, and suddenly you become aware of they are everywhere. But
Yes.
they're in the shadows. You don't see them, but you rely on them being there and them operating correctly.
And a lot of different ones as well.
Absolutely.
So why high speed?
High speed, because the faster you can go back to separating two environments, it's good for energy, it's good for environmental controls, and it's good for pest control.
Well, that's fantastic, Andrew. What I would love to do now is have a look around.
Oh, absolutely. You're going to enjoy this. Come with me. Through here, John, is our engineering department that we've built in this old chapel building, and this really is the centre of excellence for all of our technical activity.
This really is very impressive.
Thank you.
But where do you start?
First of all, we've got to understand what it is that we're trying to solve. So the sales guys do that. They come back, they'll draw up a brief. The design guys, they'll go to site. They'll understand the environment in which this product will need to survive. And then we can start the process of sketching that up and turning it into something that's real.
Now, this business is 50-year-old. That's a big difference. There wasn't even computers then, probably not even adding machines. So what's the journey been like?
Well, the journey has been long. It's incredible, really. Husband and wife team on their hands and knees fixing tarpaulins in a cobbled yard. And when they bought a sewing machine, that was the biggest advance in technology they'd seen at that time. And over those 50 years, we've invested heavily in the building, in plant, in process, and we've invented stuff along the way that has taken us from hands and knees in a cobbled yard to the building and the other buildings that you see today.
Well, I don't want to go to a cobbled yard, but let's have a look around and see what else there is.
Okay, follow me.
So what about this Singer sewing machine?
Oh,
it looks a bit bigger than normal, but otherwise very much like a standard sewing machine.
Yes, it is, and this is where the business really started to gather technical momentum when we got a sewing machine. This is one of a number of sewing machines.
So what would you sew with this?
This is to repair tarpaulins.
Right.
Before there were curtain siders, there were flatbeds. Flatbeds always had tarpaulins on them.
Right.
They get damaged. Our former owner used to drive round in an A35 van, you remember that?
Yes, I do indeed.
Collecting damaged tarpaulins, bringing them back to Union where they'd stitch patches on them and then return them.
Repairing it.
Repairing.
We should do more of that today, actually.
Absolutely.
Too much goes in the bin, doesn't it?
It does. We either need to make something that is that's got the longevity that's required, or that's repairable. We see it with cars. We see it with all kinds of stuff. You've got
It's too easy to put in the skip, isn't it?
It is, and that's really where environmental concerns come in. If you don't need to replace it, your environmental impact's zero.
But making it repairable is part of the process.
It is. It is, and I know that you do that in your factory, that your products are repairable.
Absolutely right.
And if you buy something from China, it isn't. Buy it in the UK.
It costs a bit more to make, but it costs less in the long run.
Absolutely, it's whole life ownership cost.
Exactly right.
We're in the same
That's the
business,
important
John.
thing. So that's looking at the past. Can we look at the future now?
Absolutely. Let me take you to our new fabric engineering division. Come this way. This is our fabric engineering department. This is where the fabric elements are manufactured.
Now this looks brand new.
It is brand new. We had to rebuild it. We had a fire in 2019, so this is all rebuilt building. And in here you'll see lots of rather expensive high frequency welding material. This is our final assembly area here, where the doors are put together, measured, tested, and finally sent out for installation.
I suppose you need the space because they're big, aren't they?
They are big, yes. And they get ever bigger. And the other thing that we have, of course, everything's mobile, because they vary tremendously in size.
Flexibility gives you lots of benefits, doesn't it?
Absolutely, it does. And it helps that everything's here: manufacturing, assembly, service, and repair.
But it helps you're not a big organisation.
No.
You're in charge of your own destination.
We are, and I think that this is where employee ownership really plays, because we're a limited number of people. There are 87 of us currently, and we need the ability to deploy those people in the areas where we need the effort.
Now, employee ownership is quite an interesting concept as well, because there's some conflicts there, maybe.
Well, there are. Here, we designed a structure to say that what we've got is a business that's run by the board of directors. That's
right.
Key. It's a business.
You can't have too many bosses, can you?
No, you can't. And when we have a business that works well, the employee ownership element allows us to share the wealth that we've generated with our employee owners.
So they benefit from the success of the business as well.
Absolutely. And they influence. They get to vote on directors. There are other elements.
So what is their influence then?
Their influence, the company is owned by an employee ownership trust.
Right.
And the beneficiaries of that trust are the employees. So if the employees feel that they're being unfairly treated, they have a recourse to address that. But actually...
But wouldn't that be true of any employee in any company? If they're badly treated, they can...
Absolutely, there's a recourse. But here, they are a shareholder. So they've got a greater voice. But actually, we wouldn't have moved into employee ownership if that was the culture that we wanted to foster.
Right. Well, we've already agreed everyone needs a door. Some need specialist doors, which is where your strength is. What kind of customers do you have?
Oh, we have a multitude of sectors that we serve. Typically, if you buy something from any supermarket, it's probably been through one of our doors. And so also you've got pharma, defence, automotive, big manufacturers of high quality components.
Now, usually, big manufacturers are obsessed by cost.
They are.
And therefore buying from China, for example. So how do you compete with that?
Well, that's an excellent question. So we're talking about whole life costs here. So we are not the cheapest door on the market, far from it. But what you buy into when you buy a Union door is the Union service, reliability, quality and longevity. Our doors don't even bat an eyelid on 1 million cycles or 25 years. The competitor doors are falling off the wall long before then. And that's
worth a lot.
It is, and that's why we end up with blue chip customers, because they understand whole life costs, and that's what we provide here.
It's been a very interesting and exciting time. Good to see a British manufacturer, making excellent products.
John, thanks very much. You're welcome here anytime. Fellow manufacturers, royalty to me.
Move on another 50 years.
Excellent. Good to meet you.